Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my dad here with watery eyes to talk about Survivor, episode 6.
Yeah, I'm in tears.
Is it because your favorite player is gone?
There's no more Rome show.
No Rome show. And of course, my stepmom Sheila is here to talk about this episode 6. Overall thoughts, Sheila, do you have any tears for this episode?
Tears of joy, my friend. Tears of joy.
Tears of joy. Oh, wow.
Rome, I love his energy, but I felt like he just, whatever. We'll get into it. But tears of joy today.
Definitely. Now, I have to say, I wasn't the biggest fan of Rome, but I do think that I might miss his antics a little bit. Like, I'm curious, like, who's going to replace that role of being nobody? Maybe Gabe.
Who can? Gabe won't. He's too smart.
He also might get a little messy. You don't know. Andy might get a little messy.
Possible there, but I don't know. I don't know. It's not going to be the same anymore.
I know. I wonder what the vibe is going to be like. I mean, at least though, it's the merge now, so it's going to be a new vibe, a new energy in general, and so we just won't know what it's like with Rome there. So it might be able for us to like assimilate.
Yeah, I'm still in tears though.
Still in tears.
My eyes are watering. I don't know why.
Probably like lotion in the eyes or something. Sometimes that happens.
It might be a little calmer without Rome, but Rome will make for good TV. And there were some former players that have accused him of, pandering and, pandering to the screen and so forth, which I guess only Rome can answer that question, but.
Oh, so we go on. So you were doing some extra investigative work?
I want to hear this.
Online crawling, super sleuthing. And what I came up with was quite a few people were saying, and also some people that have left the show, that they felt like Rome was pandering to the cameras.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Rome knows the deal. He's a podcaster himself. He knows.
No, he's a radio show host, right? Radio show or something like that.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised.
So one thing that I noticed with Rome with a lot of his exit press is that he's had, a good 6 months to be able to tweak it to his benefit. I don't find that everything that he's said has been factual. And it seems as though because some people are still on the show, they're not able to be like, no, that's untrue, or that's not actually how it went down. He's able to create this new narrative about how he's played the game and how everybody's perceiving him incorrectly and stuff like that. So I have watched a bit of his exit press, and I was like, I don't know if things actually went that way, Rome, but it's a nice new story that you've concocted here.
Well, it was a great show while it lasted, I guess, with him in it. So no more Rome show. Rome was canceled, I guess. Well, he was canceled as far as the episodes. No more Rome show, right? So he was canceled. As far as the episodes, not totally canceled, just the episodes. And we won't see him anymore.
Now, there's a lot of talk about season 50. So season 50 of Survivor is supposed to be a returning season, potentially with people from all eras, we'll say, of Survivor. Do you think that from season 47 at this point, that Rome might get a spot on season 50?
Do they have the spots already?
No, I mean, I'm just thinking,
are they still recruiting for the spots or selecting?
Yeah, I mean, 48 and 49 haven't aired yet, so nothing.
Oh, so they have a chance to get to 50 as well. So yeah, I mean, definitely you want to have Rome in there. I mean, he's great television.
Do you think that they could have both Rome and Q on a season, or do you think that they kind of fill the same archetype?
That would be for an interesting show, wouldn't it?
I was watching on another podcast and they were talking about how imagine if Rome, Q, and Chaos Cass. I think she tweeted she wanted to be on a try with them. Do you remember Chaos Cass from?
I do not.
Cagayan? She was the lawyer that was like pretty. She was chaotic. Anyways, it might be interesting to see 3 chaotic players all on the same beach.
Remember Russell. Russell would be good in that.
Russell, right? Yeah, he's also chaotic. He's kind of mean though. he's not a fun chaos in my opinion. Hi Todd. So Todd says, everyone, it's my birthday, by the way. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Todd.
Yay. What day is it? We're into November. Oh my gosh, it's right?
Not yet.
October.
Not yet.
Halloween era right now.
Oh, that's true too, yeah.
So yes,
the Rome has fallen.
Rome has fallen. Someone did ask Rome that question, and his response was like, if he's going to do 50, and his response was, I don't know about 50, but Rome, who knows?
There's no way that he would give up the opportunity to be on 50 if he's asked. He would be on it 100%.
I think so too.
And he loves the attention, in my opinion. What were you gonna say?
And Rome and Q, Rome could wear skirts. I mean,
I don't think that he would want to do something that was Q's though. Like he'd want to have his own thing. So yeah, I don't think that he would allow for Q. It would be like a battle of being in the spotlight, battle of the attention.
ego battle.
I don't know. I'm gonna be crying throughout this whole thing. I think
it's probably lotion got in your eyes.
I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna be crying through this whole thing today.
It's okay. We'll see Rome another day, I'm sure. So we get back to Gata after this tribal council. It's night 10, and we see Andy having a confessional, being like, "Oh, tribal council sucks." Not. He is so happy with the way tribal went down. Of course, it's nice having one up on somebody that thinks that they're voting you out, and you're the one that actually had the upper hand here. Do you think, though, with his eagerness to snipe here, that he's gonna have his own fallen Rome empire, like kind of like Rome did? Like, how do you feel like Andy's doing?
Go ahead, Sheila.
Or Sheila. Whoever wants.
Oh, you were asking me? Well, no, Andy, I don't know. He's been woke. I mean, he woke now because they put his name out there, right? So we'll talk about that. But I think him coming in, he was the one that masterminded in his mind, anyways. Was it Annika leaving, right? So he was really happy about that. And what did he say when he said that it was fun as heck, I guess, or fun as hell, or something like that he said when from tribal and all that stuff. So I think that with him right now at this point in our conversation, he feels like he's in a good position right now. But things are going to change, right?
Things are going to change. How do you feel about Andy's position and his excitement with how tribal council went, Sheila?
I think he's celebrating too soon.
It's possibly.
That's what I think.
I'm scared.
It's just like Rome. Rome was so cocky. I mean, come on. Rome was just relishing in what he thought was like he was at the top and masterminding, and that came to nip him in the bud. So I feel like Andy's setting himself up for something.
But Andy didn't do it in front of the tribe. I mean, Andy did it in a confessional. I mean, he just said it was fun as hell in the confessional.
At this point, yeah.
At this point,
yeah.
So, of course, they're going to be apologizing to Rachel about leaving her out of the vote. But now she's realizing, oh, whoops, I thought that Andy was on the bottom this whole time. And now I realize that I potentially could be on the bottom. So do you, Sheila, think that Rachel has a way to dig herself out of this mess here? Or is she stuck?
I think Rachel at this point is praying for merge so that she can get mixed into the pot and has, a new fresh beginning. That's what I think she's thinking right now.
I would be too. I'd be like, okay, we need to change this dynamic up because this is not good for me if things go in that same direction. Absolutely. So Andy and Rachel do talk about this could be their new beginning. They could be working together. We remember episode 1 where Andy felt the most comfortable with Rachel, and she didn't necessarily want to hitch her wagon to Andy at all. And now she's probably kind of looking, being like, it's interesting that she didn't take that opportunity because he was willing to give up his game for her at that point. And now, she's kind of not necessarily begging, but wants to have him, as someone that could protect her potentially. So she wants a lifeline. She is praying for the merge, which I would be too. So the next morning, a boat arrives at Gata. It says, drop your buffs. So they're all excited. Now, in this new era...
Well, hold on a second. We didn't talk about Sam. He didn't use his immunity idol at Tribal.
Yesterday. Okay, I
right?
said Sam
that
used it as a
important?
decoy. You could, if you want to say something
Is
about
that,
it.
is that not important?
If it's important to you, everything's important.
No, I'm just saying that. I mean, that was a pretty interesting play that he didn't use his immunity idol, right? At Tribal. And now he's got a secret that he's kept now that Rachel knows, right? Rachel, who else knows?
Rachel's the only one that knows, and Sierra about the.
Yeah.
So Sam used the didn't want to use the idol because he felt that it was going to out Andy about, that he kept a secret from Andy. So he wanted to kind of keep this away from him because he doesn't want to lose Andy's trust, which I think is a smart play for sure, especially since he knew that he didn't need to have the idol. And now potentially he's going to have this idol that he could lie about. He could say potentially that, he found it and he might be able to use it for leverage further on in the game. Anything else about the...
No, that was it. I mean, I thought that was pretty important because I think that Andy later on might find out. And if he did, I mean, that's going to be another scene that's going to happen at that point, right? I'm not sure exactly how Andy would take it, but you've got 2 or 3 other people that know about it, or at least 2 that know about it that might come back on Sam later on down the road. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to bring it up later on.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I had it written down here, but I was like, no, maybe we'll talk about it when we see what happens at the merge-ish feast. So, but anyways, we'll be talking about it.
All right. You're going to be leading. I will be listening.
No, but you can also interject if you feel like something is important.
Really? Okay. No, I'm not going to be. I'm going to be the co-host here, or one of the co-hosts.
But no, if something is missed, you're allowed to interject. But it wasn't something that I was forgetting about.
Oh, okay. I'll remember that.
So Lavo gets the boat coming to the beach saying, drop your buffs. We see Teeny is excited that she is now able to have like a new opportunity. She's able to potentially get into a better position now that it's going to be a merge-ish thing. Now with the new era, it's been an earn your merge type vibe. So it's like when you get the drop your buffs, they've been doing different variations of split the tribe into 2 6s, and 1 6 will win and the other 6 will, lose. And then we had the hourglass twist. What do you think about this whole concept of earn the merge that's been happening at 13, where you don't necessarily get to the merge at 13? You have to make it through another round. Sheila.
I thought it was cool. I like the advantage. I like that they have that opportunity that someone gets to, have an advantage. I like the challenge. I think it's fun. It makes them work for it. I mean, why not? It's Survivor.
So I
have nothing else to do. You might as well do a challenge.
Well, fine, do the challenge, whatever. But it's also like, why can't they be merged? Like they can still
work for it. They have to work for it.
Just being on the beach, isn't that working for it? Making it through up until day 10 or 11, whenever they are.
I agree, but from the producer's standpoint, hey, they want to have an exciting TV show, so put them to work.
I thought it was great. I mean, the way that they did it with that. So, it wasn't, set in stone that they're at the merge at this point. I just thought it was great because they still have to work for it. It was a hard job. I mean, it was difficult to work for, right? I mean,
so with they chose a beach. Now I was wondering why they chose Tuku to go to that beach, and then I was like, I guess their beach is the nicest, or maybe they have the best shelter. And I was like, why are they going to Tuku?
What a setup, huh? What a setup. Let's go to Tuku and have everyone look for something there so they can find something else, right?
Oh my God.
As soon as Sue hears that they're going to be going to Tuku Beach, she's like, oh no, I have to clean up my idol. I have to clean up all this red paint everywhere. Now, do you think that she needed to clean up her idol? She thinks that everybody's going to be looking in her bag. Is that a thing? I'm not aware.
It's called paranoia. He was paranoid. They're going to be looking at my bag. I mean, I don't know. I got to clean up my thing. I mean, she just went into a complete paranoia that they're going to figure it out that she's got an idol. And I don't think she's told anyone at that point that she had the idol. She didn't tell Gabe, I don't think, right?
Not that we've seen.
Yeah.
And she was only confronted by Caroline and Tiana, but she never admitted to having anything.
Right. So this was a big secret for her. That, hey, we can't let them find out. So I thought that was great. I mean, just the way she looks so scared.
She's like, what am I going to do? So both these boats show up to the beach and they're all talking and discussing. I believe it was Tiana that sees that there is a sign that is on the beach. And so they go over and Gabe reads the sign. They're all supposed to read together when they're all together. Compete to decide who makes the merge. There is advantage hidden. Go. And so they need to now go and scurry through the Tuku beach and find this potential advantage that's going to help them for the merge challenge. I definitely thought this was really fun, but it seems like they only kind of ran around for like a minute or two. They didn't seem to be taking as much time to make sure that they investigated and found this advantage. Insofar as Genevieve and Sam see a random buoy in the water and they do not think that it was anything. Sheila, you're shaking your head. This is
a classic Sam move. This is a guy who doesn't eat pineapple or any food, anything real, who just dismisses a random buoy in the water. I mean, it's Survivor. Anything out of the ordinary needs to be investigated. I just couldn't believe it. But Genevieve, my girl Genevieve. You know.
But he did say that he's seen buoys around, and that's nothing, right? So, and he was.
Has he though?
Well, that's what he said. He said, I've seen him around. Like, it doesn't mean anything. So he just said it was just a buoy, and I think that he said something about that he's seen him around somewhere else. So,
I mean. Maybe, but like I haven't noticed any buoys in any shots of his beach whatsoever. Maybe in life he's seen buoys before, so it's not out of the ordinary necessarily, like showing where like, oh, don't swim this area or this is a danger zone. But it's kind of wrestled in like a very calm place. It did seem out of place, and I would think if you're looking for something and something just seems a little bit out of place.
Didn't they say though that it was on the island?
You just said there was an advantage hidden. Go.
Hidden. They didn't say it was on the island. Okay.
And in all fairness to Sam, he's not familiar with that beach, so that could have been there all along. The Tuku people would know, but still, it's Survivor, man. I mean, I guess they don't want to go out and check it out. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're together too. So at that point, they were together. So it's it's nothing. But Genevieve is something. I'm going back, right?
Well, I wonder though if they won. So Sam might not even have had an idea. But in that first journey with Asia and TK, they had to go out into the water to get that final key, and so. I would be thinking like, ooh, maybe it's in the water. It just like I would just have that thought if I had that information. Now Sam wouldn't have had that information at all. That things could be hidden in the water, and so I'll give him a slight pass there. That maybe he didn't know because his yellow tribe was immune from that one. So Kyle wants to find this, of course, because he has no vote. Genevieve noticed the buoy. Sam says it's nothing, of course. And then you see Sue telling Saul that she's 45, and he's like, "Oh, we look good. We look good." Do you think that Saul really believed her, or just was like kind of placating just to?
Yeah, I'm 42. You're 45. We look good. I think it's funny because when she said she's 58. I mean, that was a lie. She's 59, right? So she didn't even say her real age in the first place, but she was talking on the confessional, right? Because she's 59, not 58.
Maybe she had a birth. No, she didn't have a birthday. I think she's in June. Anyways,
okay,
she lied there.
She lied there, yeah, to the confessional. So, but they both look good, yeah. I mean,
so do you know what? Maybe Sue is 65, and she's like lying to. She doesn't know what lies she's told whom. Like she's just lying to everybody. So everybody that's scurrying around notices the red paint. It's a murder mystery, and I thought it was actually really funny to be like, "What is this? What is this paint?" And Sue was just avoiding it completely. But Caroline clues in and is like, "Ooh, like." She remembers that Sue was, cut herself with the machete or bit her tongue or whatever she's saying. And she's like, "Oh, Sue must have found the idol." And she was really, really proud of her and happy that Sue has the idol. Sheila, were you happy that Carolyn was able to clue into, what was actually going on?
Caroline's smart. We already know that, of course. And Tiana clued in. And my question is, like, when Sue was trying to cover up, I mean, did she lick the machete and thereby cutting her tongue? I'm not sure how all the blood ended up on her face from biting her tongue, but I'm wondering, was she licking the machete? Maybe that's how it happened. I don't know. But no, Sue, poor Sue. I mean, but Caroline covered it nicely. Caroline was very respectful about the fact that Sue didn't tell her anything and kind of let her know or whatever. And it's all good. Poor Sue.
But Caroline was smart. Caroline was smart because she went to Sue and said, I know your secret, right? So and Sue was like, what are you talking about? What? What secret?
I thought it was hilarious though that
it's Sue I know.
felt like a criminal, like she was caught red-handed, that they were all investigating a murder that she committed. Like, she was the perfect person to be a suspect here on like who has this immunity idol.
But what was smart about that, though, with Caroline, I mean, she had a choice, right? She could have said nothing, but she went in line with Sue at that point and said, "Okay, I know your secret." So there was a trust that was that she put there. She said, "I'm not going to say anything." So she built a bond. Well, she already had the bond with Sue, obviously, but now the bond, I think, is a little bit deeper because she's holding one of Sue's secrets now to her, close to the vest. So I thought that was pretty smart of her to pull in Sue now. She's got another ally now. Well, she already had the ally, but she's really got an ally now at the merch, right? So that I thought that was important.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And, with her, like, Sue, I got you. Don't worry. Like, I'll help you out here. I'll push people away from this. I think it's helpful for Sue because she probably wants to talk to somebody about it, but, like, knows that she can't. And so now that she's like, okay, Carolyn knows, we're good. Like, at least now I can just I think she would feel a little bit safer that she's not the only one keeping the secret.
I agree. But why didn't she go to Gabe? Why do you think she didn't go to Gabe and let him know? I mean, Gabe told her when he had it, right? So that's interesting. Their bond is not as strong as I thought then, right?
I mean, I don't think that Gabe should have told I don't think you should really actually give out information freely because people can use that against you. If people know that you have an idol, they're going to be looking for ways to either use it against you so you think you're safe and get the idol out of the game. And so knowledge is power. And I think that Gabe probably did it because it was just he got a three thing idol. I think, and he wanted to build that camaraderie with Sue. I think it was okay there, but in general, I don't really go by telling people anything. I'm like, zip it.
Well, I guess it's different now that the merge is on, right? So the merge is on. Everyone's going to be teaming up with different people. So maybe, well, she knew before the merge. So, but now that the merge is on, again, I guess the bonds that they had with their original tribe mates is not necessarily still there, which doesn't make sense to me because they've got 5 at that point, I believe, Fatuku. They really can control the whole thing if they stick together once it gets down to numbers where they can control it. So anyhow, let's move on.
Well, we're going to pause because Genevieve cannot stop thinking about the buoy. And she's just in her mind. And she's like, I have to go back. And I really loved her telling of like, I'm going to go into the water and I'm going to be really annoyed that it's nothing, but I'll be really mad if I don't check the buoy. And I just love that she's like creeping and she's like, gotta get in the water, and she finally gets there and she sees that it actually is the advantage, and she comes out, she's super happy, and she's like, it was the buoy, and Sam was like, kind of like, drat, I missed out there. I love that scene. I thought it was great.
But what do you think there about her coming back and telling everybody that she found it? What's
I mean,
your
she kind of
comment on that?
has to, right? Because they're going to be revealed at the challenge. So I think for that one, since it was like everybody knows that people are looking for it, it's not like an immunity idol that you won't be found out if you had it. I think that it was fine for her to do that, and I think it makes her look less sneaky, right? Like, oh, like we were done searching and then you went off and you were looking for something. I think it just exonerates her from being kind of more
Well, it's full
devious.
transparency, right? So she's building trust with everybody. So it was trust building for her to come back and say, hey, I found it, right? Because again, like you say, it's going to be revealed soon anyways, right?
But everybody's cluing in like, oh, but now that means that the paint was something else.
Right.
So with the paint being something else, Tiana starts cluing into the fact that Sue was covered in the red paint, which I thought was interesting. Now, I don't know if it was this block or the next block, but actually, no, I'll get to it when we get to it. So Rome does ask Sue what Caroline will do. Hold on, with Idol, use right away. Well, Rome's starting to do his Rome antics at this point. He's starting to get information, spread information. We see him talking to Kyle, learning about Sue and Caroline being like a mother-daughter, and they're not that great in challenges, apparently. And saying that Tiana is, a big threat. And so Rome is just sprinkling around this information, thinking that he's super smart. You're shaking your head. Both of you shaking your head. Sheila, why are you shaking your head for Rome?
Oh, come on. It's Rome. But one thing I want to say with the Genevieve situation and finding the advantage, if she hadn't told them, they'd all be still looking. Like, you have to tell them, because
no one was looking. No one was looking.
They'd all be in the back of their mind, oh shit, we got to go look for that. Like that,
no one was looking. No one cared.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it kind of put it to rest, and they could all just, get to know each other, and like the pressure was off to find something that could be anywhere.
Well, look at Soul. Soul was like, man, I want to go look. I mean, here we are just sitting around. I want to go look for it, right? So there's a lot of pressure at that point to leave the group and go and look. And I don't know how she snuck out, but there was a lot of pressure to go and look, because it's either look or let's be social. Let's be social with everybody. And most of them decided to be social because, again, when you think about finding something like that, sometimes it's not good to find it, because you now are marked, okay, they found the idol. So it puts a headlight on you, right? Because you found it, where everybody else was just sitting back being social. So, I mean, I think it was a balancing act there. Do I go and look or do I stay? And she decided to go look, which was great. She found it, and then she came back in full transparency. I found it, guys. Oh, good for you. Now we can sit back and relax, right? So I don't think that anyone would have looked at that point.
I think that they would go look, but I can understand what you're saying, Sheila. Kind of like everybody's thinking about it, and so they're not like, if someone goes to the water well, they're like, "Who are they looking? Are they looking for it?" Like it takes everybody being suspicious. Everybody, I think, like that. It just gives everybody a little bit of ease here, and like they don't need to be thinking about this advantage anymore.
Right. Okay.
So that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. So back to your question with Rome. So I don't know if you guys feel this when Rome said, like you, and when he talked to Sue and Caroline, he goes, you guys, I see you like a mother-daughter team. Did you see Sue's face? Because
she's too young to be.
She felt like that was a compliment. Like, no, we're sisters. Like, we're not mother-daughter.
We're twins.
Funny, okay?
Well, who's the mother? Who's the daughter? Right?
That's very funny, actually. And
like, it kind of felt like Sue was not like too challenged with her age and doesn't like any kind of comparisons. I thought that was pretty funny. But Rome thinks he's doing these masterful moves, and granted, he's thinking and he's doing his best, but he's out and out, like, just anyway. He's Rome.
Well, I mean, what he was doing when he was gathering information, I thought that was good. That was smart. But to gather information and immediately go back and share that information with the people that you got the stuff on, I think that was not smart. He could have kept that information to himself. He could have stayed quiet at that point. and that would have been better for him, I think, at that point, rather than go and share what Kyle said, which Kyle basically told said those things, but then said he didn't say those things. And
well,
so,
he didn't say them in the way that Rome was representing them, and so he just has to go like, I didn't say them at all, because like if you're like, oh, well, I kind of said that, like he does kind of loses his credibility, so he kind of has to go all like, he's a liar, and just blame Rome.
Well, he was lucky that Soul was right there too to say, no, that's what Rome does. That's Rome. That's what he does.
Tiana didn't actually, we hear a lot about Tiana following her gut, and she's like, when she's tuning into her gut, she's like, that didn't feel right to her that Kyle would be saying these things about her in this way. And for the Tiana portion, Rome kind of, what's the word? Is it buried the lead? Where he kind of like gave the information and Kyle kind of agreed of like, oh, you think that Tiana is going to be could win the game? And he's like, yeah, like Tiana's really strong. And you know what I mean? He didn't really say it, but he kind of agreed to what Rome was saying. So Tiana didn't think it felt right. Kyle is her number one in the game. And so Rome, I think, felt that he was way smarter than everybody else and had a better relationship with everybody else.
Why was he silly there? He doesn't know what Tuku,
exactly the dynamic
of Tuku. Yeah, exactly the dynamics of relationships of Tuku. He didn't know, and so he went in there trying to bust that up, and that was not smart. I don't think for him to do that and then go to Sue, which is a Tuku person, right, and share the information that Kyle said, because he doesn't know their relationship, doesn't know their dynamics. That did not make sense to me for him to go to that tribe and share that information. I mean, to share information about his tribe would have been one thing, or his group would have been one thing, but to share information about another group that he really didn't know the dynamics, I didn't think was smart.
Well, Saul says that you have to fact check Rome, which is a good piece of advice, I would say, to fact check everything that Rome says. And so people kind of started to fact check Rome a little bit. And this is where the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire, before Rome fell.
I'm still in tears.
Kyle now tells the group that Rome is his target. And I thought that this might have been premature and a little bit premature for Kyle to say this, because Kyle A doesn't have a vote. B, when he was at the well complaining about Rome being like, he's my target, I want him out, Genevieve was still there, and I was like, Kyle, maybe like slow your roll a little bit, because maybe not everybody wants Rome gone. Just because he's wronged you doesn't mean that people want him out of the game. They don't know you. So I thought that could have been a misstep for Kyle.
But it wasn't. I mean, it was the opposite of a misstep there when he did that, because now he gathered and brought everybody in. I mean, he was the leader of that vote coming up, obviously, because he put it out there that Rome's my target, and I'm just putting it out there right now. And everybody kind of agreed, even though Genevieve was there, everybody kind of, no one said no. Let's put it that way. So he put it out there right away that it's going to be Rome.
Now, would it have, this is why I'm saying that it could have been a misstep. If he didn't win the challenge, do you think that maybe Rome would have had his plan might have had more legs?
No. I don't think so, because at that point, no one trusted Rome. So when he said that Rome, that guy, and Soul agreed with it. I mean, I don't think anyone trusts Rome at that point, because he had a couple of people agreeing that Rome is bad. We need to get him out of here. And they've seen Rome and his antics at the different challenges and so forth as well. So they know a little bit about Rome so far, even though they have not been tribe mates. They know, based on the challenges, what kind of person Rome is in a way. I mean, he's loud, right? So they knew that.
Well, the reason why I'm saying, though, because that I was worried, is that Kyle didn't have a vote, right? And so, yeah, you could be like, hey, everybody, we hate Rome. Let's get Rome out of here. But who knows? Like, what if Rome had some sort of advantage of some sort? What if say Rome wins immunity? There just were so many possibilities where him being so open about who he wanted out of the game could have blown back on him at that point in the game.
I agree. I 100% agree, because I thought that at the same time when I saw that hey, who knows what's going to happen here? But I mean, but that was the thing that basically
it helped from the way that things fell, out of, okay, this worked out for him, but I could see another dimension where like that could have been bad for Kyle. Like, he has no vote, no power. So we get to the challenge. It's going to be 2 teams of 6 that are going to be competing against each other. The winning team is going to get a meal. And then the winning team will also be competing for individual immunity. So there's only going to be one person that's going to be guaranteed to get to the actual merge. And Genevieve gets to read out her advantage. And basically, she is able to automatically get the food reward and just miss the first tier of this challenge and just compete in the second tier. So I thought it was a pretty good advantage.
It's a great advantage.
I was like, take it.
The best.
And people won't even be looking at you kind of badly. It's not like, I just feel like it was an advantage that she got to have that didn't have that much negative blowback. So I was like, that's pretty good.
Other than she wasn't covered in mud.
Exactly. I was just about to say.
That's like the best part of the advantage is she didn't have to be covered in that icky mud and
the sawdust on top of it, like, or wood chips. I was like, man, they just love people looking a mess.
No.
So cruel.
And also, I think that Rome nailed his own coffin anyway. Kyle threw it out there. He took a risk, but Rome was so busy buzzing around. He was just annoying everyone, I'm sure, that everyone just said, yeah, let's do Rome. And it was music to Genevieve's ears because she had that plan already.
You think that she wanted Rome out at this point instead of keeping her numbers for the merge portion?
Yeah, I think that she had already had Rome targeted from the previous, from episode 5. I mean, she already had that in her mind. It was time for Rome to go.
You're like, you might have to lose you.
So yeah, I mean, as long as it's not me, obviously, it's somebody else. But again, it doesn't make sense to me that those 3, Teeny, Rome, and Genevieve, and even Sol, would break up their group. I mean, because they should have gone into. I mean, all of these groups should have went into that as, okay, guys, we're going to stick together.
100%. So that's why I don't think that. That's why I was worried that Genevieve might want to make a counter plan. I mean, I think she realized that there wasn't any legs really, or she didn't want to try to stand in front of the bus to protect Rome. Like, she didn't want to be outward in that way. But I don't think it necessarily was in her best interest to lose Rome at this point, other than the fact to keep her social standing.
Yeah. Plus, you got somebody that's a little, out there. So down the road, they could get rid of Rome anytime, right? Once the merge happens and so forth, they could have gotten rid of him anytime. So I don't know.
So they do a schoolyard pick, but then they don't show us the schoolyard pick. I was like, why?
I wonder who was last. Who was last?
I think it was Andy and Sue were last, I think is what I heard.
Oh, wow.
Andy was the last one picked.
So yeah, last, and I think
you're a super sleuth, Sheila.
Yes, Sheila. What are you watching?
I covered a lot of little tidbits, but anyway.
So yes, I heard that Andy was last, and Sue was second last. And so on the yellow.
By the way, I hated being last when I was growing up.
You got picked last?
I got picked last a few times. I was playing with the big kids. I was playing with the big kids. That was so sad, being last.
So when did you become tall?
Well, I was always tall, but tall and skinny, right? So I was tall and skinny. I always played with the bigger kids, right? Because I was tall. But yeah, there was lots of times where I was picked last. It's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Were you good?
Well, I was okay, I guess, but yeah, I was okay, but I wasn't great. I don't think at these things, except for hockey. I was pretty good at hockey, but baseball and all that stuff, I wasn't great at.
Sheila, you were picked last as well.
I was really little. I didn't get taller until I was 15, so I was always the last pick in public school. Always, that was like a little run.
It is sad.
And I'm not the most coordinated person in the world. So, became pretty evident that I'm not the athletic, superstar. So I was always pick last, so I can relate to Andy.
But that's pretty traumatic, though, to be picked last and you're
always. Like,
one of the guys and you're last and something like that. Oh, geez, that's sad.
Are you okay? Is that what you're crying?
I don't know. I've got I'm going back many years, but yeah, that's a sad thing when that happens.
Hales here is saying that it worked like a safety chain. It was in a secret scene. So basically, some of I read who the captains were. Sheila, do you remember who did they say in your sleuthing? Did you learn who the captains were? I think it was Sam and I can't remember. Anyways, there's two captains. They pick someone, and then that person picks the next person. That person picks the next person.
Caroline, I think.
Oh, Hale says Teeny and Tiana.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's correct. It was 2 T's.
And then the first pick was Sam on whoever Sam's team is.
Big surprise.
I mean, I'd take Sam for sure too. Now I unfortunately, or I guess fortunately for me, I did not have that same experience with being picked last because I never had to play any sports. I went to an art school and I could completely avoid sports because I could get my physical education from dance, and so I was never picked last in dance class. And so I did not get that experience, thank goodness.
Lucky.
But we had to sit through your dance events. I remember that, and you were good. You were really good at dance. You were really good at dance. And I'm not saying your dance events, but I remember going into the hot auditoriums and
Cricket Hall.
Yeah, watching the dance.
Hi, Diana. So Diana says Sierra didn't pick Andy as last, which was surprising given their alliance. Sierra didn't pick Andy as the last pick, which was surprising given their alliance. So I guess she picked someone else over Andy. That's not great.
So they did it a little bit different than when we were growing up, I guess. And it wasn't just the captain picking everybody. It was like whoever got picked got to pick the next person or something like that. Is that how it works?
So that's what she was meaning by safety chain, is where like the person that you pick will pick the next person.
Oh, okay. Totally different.
Yeah. So it's a twist on a regular schoolyard pick. It's not just the captain choosing everybody. It's who the other person picks or who's chosen will choose next, basically.
Hey, Chantele, why do you think they chose not to show that?
Maybe because it'll make it too obvious that what's going to happen the next episode. I think because what it looks like. Well, yeah, we'll get to ask me this question again.
Curious, like what would be the reason? Because that would be good TV, right? Watching them get picked.
Well, also she was saying that it's in a secret scene, so that could also be driving people to the CBS website to be able to watch these secret scenes. So that could be one reason why they left it out. But then I have another reason that just remember to ask me again when we talk about Tribal Council.
Okay.
So on Team Yellow is going to be Sierra, Rachel, Sam, Sue, Teeny, and Kyle. On Team Blue is Gabe, Andy, Tiana, Rome, Carolyn, and Saul. And Genevieve staying dry and clean on the bench. So they had to crawl through this mud underneath this rope. What do they call that?
Bars? It was like bars, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, those were bars. It wasn't like the rope thing.
No, anyways. It was like
and was it hurdles? Was it? Yeah, it was up and over under the hurdles, and they're up and under, and then covered in the wood chips, and so then they had to remove the debris and get the grappling hooks. I don't even remember this challenge right now. Grappling hooks to slide down with the bag. Okay, they slide down with the big bag of all these pieces of things, open the bag to find a ball, and then running up this like curved, steep ramp. This sucks. I mean, you guys are both really tall, so I don't think you'd have that much trouble getting up this ramp, but like smaller people might have a little bit of trouble getting up this ramp.
Small like Teeny?
Teeny's teeny. Teeny's very small. So yeah, she definitely would have some problem. Gabe, though, is able to get up right away, able to pull himself up. He's helping everybody up. And then Carolyn is having a bit of trouble. So he actually comes down to help Carolyn get up this ramp, which I thought was nice. I was like, oh, go Gabe, you really want to win this, So the yellow is doing a different strategy. They're able to use the sandbags that they had been dragging around before to build a bit of a ladder or a ledge to step onto to be able to retreat or to get up the ramp. Which tactic would you guys have chosen?
For us?
Yeah, I guess you're tall, so you probably would have.
Yeah.
But like, what if there's some small people on your team? Maybe you think that would you be the Gabe and go down and get the team members that are having trouble, or do you think that you would be like, okay, let's just move some of these sandbags?
Well, I thought it was a good idea to move them, but it just took time to move them, right? So, but it was a good idea to move them, and they were able to get Teeny up that way. So that was a smart thing to do. But I like what Gabe did. Going back and then pushing Caroline up. So what would we have done? What would I have done? I probably would have been happy that I got up there, and there's no way I'm going back down.
Sorry.
There's no way.
So I don't think that height is necessarily a huge advantage, because you have to have the leg power and the physical strength to grab that, pull yourself. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics. It's not just height. So I personally think that utilization of the bags was good, because, do I want some dude there trying to throw me up the ramp to hang on to that rope thing and pull myself up? No, I'd rather use the bags to do it myself and then, jump. I don't know.
But remember that you want to win. You want to win. You're on a team. You want to win.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really not up to up to us to decide what we're going to do, because the team's going to say, no, do this. Whatever the best method is what the team's going to say. Hey, do that. Right. So, yeah, tough one.
I thought it was smart. I thought it was good use. And plus, like, Teeny and Sierra's little, like, there's a lot of smaller people that it would have helped.
So Hale says about the schoolyard pick that it was extra sad because Jeff had asked Andy how he was feeling, and he gave a heartfelt speech, and then Sierra picked Sue. Ouch!
Ooh, pick Sue over
Andy being the final two people.
Wow. So Andy was the absolute last person?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So Hale said Jeff said that they had to cut it for time on his podcast, and that it was a 7-minute clip, which was super long for an episode.
Wow.
And then saving it for the secret scene too, I think. But
that's really cruel.
Yeah,
I mean, that really is cruel.
Well, I do generally on these shows like a schoolyard pick, because you do see where you are in the tribe. Like, you see who's liking you. You could also use it to make other people think that you're not working as tightly with other people. Like, I think you could use it for strategy. And so I wish that they do the schoolyard pick more often. So I think it's still a good thing, even though obviously I don't really want people to get hurt, but I think it will propel people's games in certain directions.
Well, I mean, and you guys talk about old school, new school, and I don't know what happens moving forward, but I thought that used to be great when I used to watch it years ago, that they would have these events where, you were able to tell who the alliances were based on who they picked. And so it's the same thing here, but it shows us, again, I didn't see that, or I didn't go checking things around, Sheila, to checking things out to see what really happened outside of that. But again, it just shows you who's on the bottom, right? Andy, Sue, they're on the bottom. So we know that. So it really would have been revealing if they would have shown that. Absolutely.
Hey, and also keep in mind too, and I don't know if this is a factor, but these people saw Andy implode on day one when he had his, I'm a loser and I have no friends and this is how I adapt type of thing, his little talk. So some of these people haven't really had any interaction with Andy other than the challenges. So, in their mind, they might still be thinking he's a little, we're not sure, he's maybe unstable.
But this is a challenge. Sure. So maybe they were looking at the fact that he sawed the rope, or was trying to saw the rope to the wrong side, the fact that he fell off of the beam a bunch of times, the fact, there was a lot of things in the challenge or challenges that he has not been good at. So maybe that's what they used as a barometer to say, he's not that good at challenges. We don't want him on our team.
That's what I'm wondering, like if he's created a target for himself just based on his behaviors. I don't know.
Well, possibly. Possibly. Oh, poor Andy.
Right.
So I think it was Baloo gets to the table maze first, and so they have their balls that they were able to dig up, and basically I believe it's 3 balls that they have to get, or 1 ball that they have to get to the center, I believe, for this one. So on the Baloo tribe or the blue team, Gabe and Rome are on the table maze, and then Sam and Kyle are on it for yellow. So blue was just only a little bit ahead of yellow, who took the longer approach with doing the sandbags and getting everybody up this ramp. And Sam and Kyle are going so slowly, and Gabe and Rome are completely erratic, pulling, because they had to kind of time it where the table was off kilter, and you had like kind of a pulley system, and you had to really work together. Gabe and Rome, in my opinion, weren't working together, and Sam and Kyle were doing a better job working together. They're being methodical, they're being slow about it. And in Rome's exit press, he, of course, blamed it all on Gabe, saying Gabe wasn't listening to him, and that's why they, spoiler alert, they lost this challenge. Sheila, do you think that this was all Gabe's fault?
No. No.
Well, it can't be.
Rome. Like Rome, there's nothing. Rome's just a very boisterous and very like much kind of personality, and I don't think he can do anything quietly and subtly. It's just not in his nature. So that's how he would be. That's how he would do it.
Well, I don't know if it was him. I think it was just they didn't work together as a team.
They didn't work together.
I mean, I wouldn't blame Rome. I just don't think that they worked together well on that one as a team in getting there. So.
Yeah, I think they both were like, my way is right, and they didn't realize that they need to come to like, we at one point we'll listen to each other. We have to kind of go back and forth. Maybe one person takes the lead here. Yeah, they both were kind of playing independently when they kind of needed to be playing together.
Wouldn't they know how it works? So from previous survivors, I mean, they've seen that before. They've seen, you know, what they have to do.
I think they even had another pulley type thing this season.
They've already done it. A similar type challenge. They've already done that. So you learn from that it has to be very slight movements, gentle, not like, you know.
I don't totally agree with you, Sheila, because I mean, I'm sorry, babe, but if you think about it, it's not always just slow movements, because there's going to be times when you're going to have to shift it hard. So I think it's a little bit of both. It's going to be slow and big moves, because you got to get around them sometimes and so forth. So I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think it's just one thing, slow all the way. I think it's a little bit of both.
For sure, like there's going to be times where you'll be like, okay, on 3, we're going to all go to one side so we can pass this little tricky point. So yes, there might be some erratic movements, but I do think that being methodical about your approach would be a little bit more effective than the erraticness that we're seeing from Rome and Gabe, in my opinion, anyways. I was going to say something about the challenge. Oh, okay. So I remember, though, the last time they did this challenge on this season, it was TK, Kyle, and Gabe, right, that were on it when TK ended up going home. So could Gabe be the common denominator for being bad at this challenge?
Maybe.
Rome was right, so Rome would have been right.
Yeah, could be.
Okay, hold on. Diana is coming here to kind of corroborate my story. Diana says, TK said that Gabe was unwilling to compromise in a challenge earlier this season, and Rome is just as stubborn. So they both were not compromising at all.
Ego.
But so, yeah, I'm assuming that Gabe, is maybe a common denominator there. Funny. So Yellow does win. So they were going to be getting the feast, and they were also going to be able to compete in the second portion of this challenge. And Blue will have no food and no shot at immunity. So part 2 is going to be standing on a beam, holding a bow with a ball balanced on the top of this beam. Sheila, I feel like you'd be really good at this one.
Yeah, I would be good at that one.
Why are you laughing?
No, because she used to be a ballerina.
In one place. It's good.
She was a ballerina when she was younger, right? So she'd be really good at being able to do that.
No, that I could do that one. That's any of these where you have to hold, stand and meditate, and I'm good at that. It's when I have to when the top part of my body and the bottom part of my body have to do different things. It gets ugly. So yeah.
I can see you doing pretty well. G Daddy, how would you do with this one?
Me?
Yeah.
How would I do with that one? Yeah, I'd probably be okay with it. I mean, I'd be okay with it.
I think I would be too. Once you found where to balance the ball. Now some people had an overgrip, some people had an undergrip. I would think no, I don't know. What grip would you guys do? Would you do one?
I would do under probably.
I do under.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would do under because that's
yeah.
I don't know. I probably would do under.
I think
under
because then you can kind of hold your elbows to your body. I think, and that would provide a little bit more stability. I think because over.
Over is going to hurt your
shoulders.
Over will hurt your shoulders, right?
Yeah.
So under is not going to hurt your shoulders as much as over would, because if you're over, that's going to start to burn in the shoulders a little bit.
So yeah, okay. Just need to know this in case I get on season 49. 49. Who was it? Charlie from the last season, was it? Was saying that he did grip strength training. So he was practicing his wrists and the grips and stuff like that. I was like, that's very smart. So, you see me starting to get those grip trainers.
I'm just looking. I got my grip trainer. I guess it's upstairs.
I
do have my grip trainers.
I saw it on your desk.
Is it on my desk? So I do have my grip trainers.
Are you getting prepared for 49?
No.
Should I make a video of you guys and be like,
Absolutely not. Please, absolutely not.
Aww. All right, so basically in 5 minutes, Sierra is out first, then Sam. After 10 minutes, after the 5 minutes, they're able to move to a smaller section of the beam. Then Rachel goes out and Genevieve. So Genevieve, who was fresh as a daisy, not covered in any mud, did not win. And I actually think it's better that she did not win this challenge because her being clean, winning the challenge, I think that would have been bad for her, but it's great that she got to have the feast of the meal. But I think it actually is better. It works better for her that she didn't win this one because I think it should be resented. I'd be like, I'm like, you're clean and you're safe, like Queen Genevieve over here.
She's the only clean one at the feast too.
And she's tall as well. Like a lot of the people on this season are short, but she's probably like 5'9", 5'10". Like she's a tall woman. So
she looked tall.
And so tall, clean, winning. I'd be like,
yeah, at the feast eating, totally clean.
She must have felt bad being like, ooh, these guys look like, they're enjoying themselves, but I'm clean. So Teeny looks at Sue. So Teeny was looking really, really strong. And then I think Jeff said something. She looks over at Sue and loses the ball and she is out. And so she's out fifth. So right now it's going to be Sue versus Kyle in this final round. I thought that Kyle was going to have it, but I was hoping that Sue could get it because she was almost the last pick. It would have been nice to see her get that win, being like, showed you. But she didn't. Kyle won.
She did well, though. She did well. So that shows her strength in her legs and her focus and so forth. She did very well. I was actually quite proud of her on how far she went.
Go Sue. So yes, Kyle is going to win individual immunity. What do you guys think about this individual immunity necklace, this gigantic bat?
Sheila and I talked about that this morning, right? I said, that's pretty ugly. I said that this morning. I said, that's an ugly immunity idol.
It's so ugly, but be like, oh!
But I thought it was interesting that Kyle now has got one on the front and on the back, right?
It's true.
So he's got the bat on the back as well. So that was meant to be. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I wonder if it was part of his unknowing manifestation of being on this season.
Could be.
I definitely find it interesting. I thought it was cool.
Maybe that's where they got their idea from.
It looked like it's from Spirit Halloween. It did. It did. It would have been better if this episode aired this week, Halloween week. It'd be like, it's a Halloween idol. And so Jeff asks him, how does it feel to earn the buff? We hear a little bit more of Kyle talking about how he's doing it for his family and how grateful that he is for being there. That whole shebang. But yeah, Jeff, I find he just loves just to just take everything out of every situation. He takes it too far sometimes, but I guess it's what gives him pleasure.
What do you mean? Please.
Well, how he always wants you to talk so deeply about how much this show means to you and who are you playing for. Like I just find like he really allows people, like even Andy in that first challenge, like, what does this mean to you? How are you feeling right now? What did it like? I think he kind of course
out, right?
He's a host. He's trying to pull things out of the contestants, but sometimes I think it's just a little bit overboard in how it's just. We call it in acting. What's the word in acting? When an actor is being like so emotional and he's just showing off how emotional he is. I just feel like he's just trying to show how amazing Survivor is and how life changing it is. And it's just can't figure out the word that I'm talking about. But do you know what I mean?
I do.
Just recruiting for new people to get on the show. That's his job.
Diana says Jeff is corny. Okay, maybe that's what it is. That's the word, corny. It's just too, I don't know, it's too much. It's like, come on, okay, we get it. Survivor's hard, dig deep, but it's not as life-changing as well, maybe it is. I don't know, but
they just want
hey, it's therapy. That's what it seems like. It's therapy.
Maybe a little bit. So Jeff, so like for instance, so Jeff then lays out like, okay, now there's going to be two groups and there's going to be one group that's going to be going back and they're not going to be getting any food. And then there's going to be another group that's going to be going and they're going to be eating and they're going to be bonding. And then they're going to come back together. Like, what's going to happen there? Like, and I'm just like, we know how to play the game. Like, it's not that serious. That's it's corny.
It sounds like you're trying to get his job. It sounds like
I'm no Rome, okay? I'm no Rome here. So yes, he lays out how this is all going to go down. We hear though with the winning team that Sam has been wanting a charcuterie board. I'm like, how does he know what a charcuterie board is?
He didn't say that though. He didn't say that he wanted the charcuterie or whatever board. He said that he wanted meats and cheeses, right? Which is that, I guess,
think
right?
He said Sam has wanted a charcuterie board. Okay. Am I going to?
How does Sam even know what that is? Seriously, how does Sam even know what that is?
He doesn't know what a
pineapple is. He's a guy that doesn't eat pineapple. How does he know what the charcuterie? I can't even say it.
Charcuterie. Did you also look, like when we saw the whole table with the feast, I was like, is that pineapple? Did you guys look out and suss out the pineapple? And then he does go and try the pineapple, which I was like, okay, good. And he's a pineapple guy now. Like, you should have always been. Pineapple's delicious. Delicious. Okay, let's find to see if Sam actually says it. Like, I believe he does.
Here it is. Here.
Oh, you're faster?
I'm looking right here, and yes, absolutely. It looks like he did say that. I've been craving charcuterie since day 3.
I'm impressed. I'm shocked he knew that.
So he did say it. I'm gonna
he says I've been asking. He says I don't even know if he knew what it was, but he says I've been asking Jeff to get some meats and cheeses to put in my belly, please. So that's basically. So yeah, he absolutely said that.
I definitely was like, this guy doesn't know what a charcuterie board is, but he ate some meats and cheeses. I feel like they could have given them something with a little bit more sustenance. Yes, got some fats from like the nuts and the meats and stuff like that, but I don't know, get something a little bit more hearty for this earn your merge meal type thing. At this meal, everybody is saying Rome, and then the second name being Andy was brought up. Now, I'm thinking it's because he was the last picked, and so it seemed as though nobody was really riding for Andy, and that would be a safe person to say. But you guys are both shaking your head. Was it for the fact that both Sam and Sierra are both on that tribe, right?
Yeah, they said Andy too. I mean, I was a little
They agreed
surprised
with
with
it.
that. Yeah.
I was very surprised that they allowed Andy to be the decoy vote.
Especially Sam. Especially Sam.
He just went through all this work getting out Annika, not using, this is where I want to talk about it, not using his idol because he didn't want Andy to think that he wasn't trustworthy. And then he doesn't even protect him for a second. There's so many other people. You couldn't be like, oh no, I like Andy. I think Andy would be somebody that we could stay. We can beat him in these challenges or whatever it is. Put in somebody else that's not from the Yellow Tribe, I would think. And so I thought that this was a misstep on Sam and Sierra's part.
Who was the first one to call out Andy? Do you know?
Did I write it down? I think it was Saul. I think Saul said Andy.
I think they're also happy that it's not their name. They'll go with it.
And and I think because he was chosen last and Sierra didn't choose him, that it would be maybe somebody that she wasn't feeling too strongly about, I guess. But I thought that they should maybe have said somebody else.
Well, someone else. I mean, they should have. I think it's whoever puts the name out there first. And so they could have put someone else's name out there first as far as Sam and Sierra, but they didn't, right? So they were basically having to agree at that point.
So Diana says there were 10 other names he could have said. Sue said Andy, I believe. So either Sue or Saul. Sue or Saul. I do not remember. I didn't write it down. I thought I would remember.
Why would they even say Andy? I mean, I didn't understand that. Like, what did Andy do?
I think it's the last pick.
You think that's what it was?
Nobody wanted him on their team.
Okay, so yeah.
He was completely not, a factor here. And I think they'll be like, well, nobody's going to be that upset that he's the decoy vote because nobody picked him.
And he hasn't been like stellar at the challenges, so.
But that would be like good for the merge, right?
Yeah,
like someone that's not going to win individual.
That's true.
Hale says, do you think that they're playing 4D chess to protect him?
What does that mean? Do you know?
That they didn't want to come out and protect and save Andy here, but then they'll be like, let Andy in on the plan, that they didn't want to look like they were too close. Like it was strategic for them to be.
But they didn't let Andy know.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's asking if it was 4D chess to protect.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they didn't let Andy know. That would have been good if they did, but they didn't. So it's just weird. I mean, I just don't see. It doesn't make sense to me that these tribes come to the merge and then they forget that they were originally part of another group. So it just doesn't make sense to me when they do that. So yeah, maybe it is I don't know if it's to protect him, but I don't know. I mean, they probably couldn't say no, not Andy there, because then that would have looked like they had Andy as a part of their alliance, so to speak. So they had to just say, oh, Andy, do you guys think, so yeah, I'm in agreement with that they couldn't really do anything because someone else threw it out first. And who threw it out? Did someone say Sue?
That's what.
Yeah, because Sue was on the bottom too. So.
Right. That makes sense.
Do you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might have been Sue. Yeah. So the losing group, we're all talking about Rome. We see Andy and Carolyn talking about using the amulet so that like nobody thinks that they're a target for this amulet. I was also thinking that maybe people were trying to make the amulet stronger by getting out Andy. Like I was just kind of thinking like, why are they, because I didn't know at this point when I was watching that Andy was last pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me understand a little bit why he was, now that we know that secret scene happened. But I'm like, I still didn't think that they should be targeting Andy here. So Rome is pretending that he's had all these problems with Saul and that he's just crying these crocodile tears. Did you see the way that he was asking Jeff if he could swap out? Like, it's what I've been dealing with this whole time.
That was probably one of the funniest parts of the show. And he had tears too, which was great. He actually had tears. He's always picking on me.
Oh, it's just picking on me. Like, okay, Rome.
Bully Saul.
So Rome tells everyone that it's Saul. Really? Did he start doing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said that Saul was picking on him, and he was trying to, at that point, go for Saul, right?
Right. So, I mean, I also think it's terrible to do red-on-red crime, even if you're not friends with Saul. Like, you want to keep your people together. But Rome I think he just wanted to lead and control a vote, to be fair. So Saul, though, is going to be voting Andy as the decoy vote. So this is if Rome has an idol of some sort, that the vote was not going to fall on anybody else. It'll fall on Andy, potentially. Everyone else, we think, is voting for Rome here. And Rome is just gloating in his confessionals, talking about like, wow, this is going to be epic. Like Saul's going out and everybody's in on this plan and he has no idea. And I'm just like, man, they're really, really building him up to take down Rome. Like the editors and the producers are just like milking this moment, the fall of Rome. So we get to tribal. And they talk about don't ruffle any feathers. If you hear a plan, that's the plan. And everything was just telegraphing how Rome doesn't actually know what the plan is. And everybody else does. And they don't usually do this. They don't usually have the audience know exactly what's happening on for the vote out. But they were just really leaning into the fact that Rome was the only person that didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that was sad.
They do mention that they looked for 1 minute for the advantage, and they start talking about how the advantage of the amulet isn't really an advantage, it's a disadvantage. And Jeff is a little bit offended, but Rome wants to school him. And so Jeff gives Rome a seat in his chair to explain why this amulet is a disadvantage. He definitely did a good job. I was shocked, though, that Jeff had let him do this. Do you think it's because Jeff knew that he was going home and this was going to be even more epic?
Sheila?
I mean, it's very possible. I don't know. I would think that Jeff watches so knows what's going on.
Oh, they know exactly what's going on.
He knew. And I mean, that was classic.
He sits there. He lays it out pretty decently. So I was impressed. He is coming for Jeff's gig for sure. I don't know if he would get it. Do you think that Rome is going to be the person that they turn to take over Jeff's job if he ever wants to retire? No.
You talking about the job as far as being the host of the show?
No,
you could see that Jeff is going to live forever. I mean, look at him. He hasn't changed in 20-something years, so he's going to live forever.
Jeff's not going anywhere. Rome, I just find Rome is too chaotic. Jeff's like a different personality. Yeah. I mean, Rome's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Rome hater. His energy is awesome, but I don't think it's the right energy for Survivor.
Well, he's not going to be the host.
Right, as a host.
That's not going to happen. But it could be a host of the podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
Diane says, I haven't seen such an obvious vote in a long time. The editors didn't try to trick us, or they thought we doubt Rome was going home from being so blunt. So, I mean, I was just like, I think that the editors wanted us to be in on the gag and for Rome to literally be the only person that didn't know what was going on.
The total blindside. Audience, everybody knew but Rome.
What I came across in my super sleuthing was that the producers were so fed up and annoyed with Rome that they didn't even bother to make it a big unveiling on the tribal. They just let it like play out. They didn't try to mask who was writing Rome's name, who wasn't. They didn't try to create any suspense. It was like, Rome's going home. We're done with him. This is how it is. That's what came. to me as I was kind of tooling around online looking at stuff.
Okay, well, I want to hear your sources after, because like I need to hear that, because it's definitely a different story than what he was painting.
Right.
Even when I met him, he was talking about how, you know, there's so many kind moments that he had where he was being generous and taking care of people, and they didn't show any of that. And I was like, well, why wouldn't they show any of that unless they wanted to bury you, which they did. So I would like to hear more as to why the producers weren't a fan. Very interesting. So Rome does say that he loves hosting. That's his dream job. So he really appreciates the opportunity to be able to sit in his chair. Also knowing that he's going home, like, it's just like the deliciousness of a blind side is what people started talking about. Andy says, oh, blindsiding Annika was hella fun. Or fun as hell, he said. I'm like, Andy, be careful here. Just be careful. You don't want these to be too fun or people to know how fun they have been for you, because you will get blindsided. It's just how the Survivor gods work. So you're going to be either making the merge tonight or you're going to be out of the game tonight right before the merge, which sucks. I think this would be the worst place to go home. I really want to make the merge. I would hate to be at the last episode before the merge. So yeah, you're going to feel the FOMO. So I think it was Andy that said the line of the title, feel the FOMO. So Andy says in his confessional, I like you, but your game was really bad. Goodbye, my friend. He says this in German, Sheila.
Yes, I know. Not bad German. But...
did you know that Andy spoke German?
Not until he started speaking, no.
I was impressed, and I wondered why he was speaking in German, but...
I don't know. Did you know he could speak German?
No, I should have. I didn't. Obviously, this episode didn't happen yet, but I would have asked him if I'd seen him. Be like, "Auf Wiedersehen?" Like...
Oh, you speak German?
No.
Wait, I was going to say, I didn't know that you spoke German as well.
I can sing. I used to be able to sing "Ode Joy" in German. But I don't like now. I just remember what it sounds like. I don't remember what the actual words were like. I used to know that one, but I don't. I'd have to see the words again to be reminded of what they actually are. I just know what they sound like. Haley says, I've been washing my hair while listening. I thought I was going crazy to hear you respond to Hales. Oh, Hales. Well, we got another Hales that's in here, but hey, that's hilarious. Hale said the Germans took down the Roman Empire. People are speculating that's why you did it.
That's good.
I told you, Andy is smart. Andy is smart.
It's so good.
But Andy did not know he was the backup.
No, and so it comes out. Rome writes Sam's down to shake things up, and I was like, "See."
I didn't understand that. Why did he write Sam down? Because he thought he had it, and he just didn't. Well, like, why did he write down Sam?
So it could have been. So say Saul plays an idol. Okay, that's one thing. So that there would be a decoy vote, or like an if something happens vote, there's somebody else that would get some votes. Also, people will start being like, "Who was that vote? Who did that vote? Who?" And so it would stir the pot, cause a little bit mistrust, wondering who is out to get Sam. It would put Sam on the back foot, like what's happening. So it's just a cause a little bit. It's called a hinky vote.
A what?
So a hinky vote.
Hinky?
Yeah, throw a hinky vote is kind of like to stir things up and make people question.
Is this the term just for Survivor, or is this something I
we usually use it in Big Brother, but people throw a hinky vote.
A hinky vote, okay.
In Big Brother. So it's just to kind of shake things up a little bit.
I think that's what Rome said. I just threw Sam's name out there just, to stir it up.
Stir up the pot, exactly. Be like, who said my name? Like, Sam's going to be on.
And just for Sam to experience, to see your name up there, it's got to be shocking.
Absolutely. I mean, it would probably help me being like, whoa, okay, like I'm not as safe as I thought. And so it would actually probably make me work a little harder, make sure that like I really connect with people and stuff like that. So it could be helpful, but I think he did it just to stir the pot. Haley says, oh, wait, all the clicks. Now I thought Andy was just being Andy. Yep.
Very, very smart. He is very smart.
Good.
That is clever. If it's why, yeah, for sure. I'm gonna actually. I'll ask him. I'll see if he can tell me if that was his reason.
I mean, why else would he speak German? That makes sense.
That's like makes me love that moment so much more.
Yeah, that was good.
I like Andy. He's so smart. I like Andy.
He's actually
he might not be able to do challenges,
He's
but he's
so
very
nice.
smart.
He's so nice. I think he gets to the final 3. I feel like he has he's just been on the bottom so often that like I just feel like his story would be that he gets to the end at the game. I don't know if he'll win.
I hope so.
I feel like he gets to the end to get to tell his story.
Wow.
Anyways. So they decide to play the three-piece amulet for Teeny. I believe it's because Teeny didn't have a vote, so they played it for Teeny here, just to get rid of it, so that nobody's a target anymore. Just to get rid of the amulet.
That would have been great if they would have played it for Rome. I mean, that would have been awesome if they would have played it for Rome.
Crazy. Oh my god, but then Andy would have gone home.
That's right.
Or Sam. Oh,
or
no,
Sam.
yeah, because Andy had 2, right? He had 2.
Yeah, Sue also voted for Andy. So Sam gets a vote, then Andy. So Andy was like, looks back, I think it's Sam, was like, was I the decoy? And we didn't see Sam's full response here. Then it was Rome until there was enough votes that nobody else could be going out. Rome is gone. And he says that he got to live out a dream. He asks Jeff for a hug. And Rome leaves the game. He with his, his bag, and he's out of there. He was quite gracious when he left, I would say. He definitely got, which was fun for me and the audience, I'm sure. But it was also a little bit sad that, I think he believed that he was playing a better game than he actually was. And so it's a little sad to see somebody's like air pulled out or blown out or balloon popped,
It's funny what I thought, and I think I shared this with Sheila. To me, he was like the court jester. And now the court jester is gone. I mean, it's just, who's going to be the court jester now?
Well, Andy.
Okay.
Andy will assume the throne here. And Haley also says that Andy's really grown on me. I agree. Chantele, he gives losing finalist energy. Yeah, I can see Andy getting to the end. I really like Andy. In real life, he's a great person. Obviously, the first episode, really concerned for him. And I didn't necessarily like what he was doing, but I'm definitely rooting for Andy. Definitely. So Jeff says, I have something here for you, which are the buffs. So they actually have all merged now. It's the final 12. And we see in the scenes of the next episode that Andy has been on a witch hunt now for Gata because Sam and Sierra they allowed for his name to be the decoy vote. Now, what I was going to say that I wanted to bring in from before was with him being on the bottom of with the schoolyard pick. And then also, what was the point of Sam saving, not wanting to protect Andy, not wanting him to feel as though they're not working together, keeping that whole secret with the idol, and then allow him to be the decoy vote and not let him in on that, let him at least know about that. So I feel like Sam didn't play very well because Andy's like, Gata's got to go. I want Gata out of here. And he might get what he wants because Sam is going to be a nice, tasty treat if he doesn't win immunity.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
But hey, here's a question, though. Why didn't Rome play his shot in the dark?
Because he thought 100% that it was going to be Saul.
Oh, boy.
That, and then he said something else in one of his exit interviews that if he played the shot in the dark and it hit, that when we saw when it hit with Caleb, he still went out the next episode. So, and I was like, okay, yeah, but he still got an opportunity to be in the game longer, which means
one more day he would have made the merge.
Yeah.
I mean, if it would have worked out for him, but yeah, he didn't even play it. So I guess he really didn't know it was him. So you're 100% right on that.
But
he's pretending. He says that he had a 30% chance that he thought it was going to be him. And I was like, Sure, Jan, sure. He had no idea, I think. But he's creating a new narrative now that he's out of the game, I think.
Yeah.
So do we have an MVP for this episode?
Genevieve for finding the advantage.
I'm thinking, well, I was going to say Andy for speaking in German, but he did get some votes, which isn't great. Genevieve's pretty good. Dad, anything? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, overall, Genevieve, I think, as we talked about there, and I'm just looking here, who else? Yeah, I think Genevieve. I mean, she did a great getting that, getting that advantage that she got. So I think she did a great job on that. And I also, quite frankly, I like Kyle's play as well. So.
Well, Diana's here is also saying that Saul maybe should get a little bit of credit for the fact that he was immediately was like, got to fact check Rome, like Rome's, this is what Rome does. He was kind of given more ammunition for Rome being the vote. Okay.
Yeah, when he said that's Rome for you. So again, Rome's always stirring the pot. So that put everything on Rome. So yeah, I'd say Saul did a great job too. But yeah, I mean, interesting episode.
I think I'll go with Genevieve with you guys. I think Genevieve, I think that she's positioning herself really well. It doesn't seem like there's any shine on her. You know, it doesn't seem like anybody wants to get her out. But she, like, you know, I'm just looking at this image right here. She's all clean and everybody else is covered in mud. And she's still, it doesn't seem like people are still looking at her as a threat. So I think that she's still positioning herself really well. And I think, yeah, I'll agree. We'll give it to the Canadian, eh?
Hey.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this episode before we go?
Who said he discounted something? I didn't see that.
Oh, this is talking about Saul discounted the rumors that things that Rome was saying, and people got on board with the plan.
But did you see the scenes from the next week? Saul has something up his sleeve.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, what do we think he has up his sleeve?
What does he like? He's got like some big thing happening. So I don't know. Saul's crafty.
I'm wondering if it's maybe he's going to team up with Andy or something and being like, yeah, they were fine with you being the decoy vote. Maybe. Yeah. Because Saul is going to have to backpedal, right? So Saul and Sue were the two people that voted for Andy. And so Andy's going to be asking Saul, like, why? Like, what did I do to you? Like, why do you want to work with me? Or, you know, and so maybe that's what he has up his sleeve is to get Sam out of the game.
Me, that's what I'm thinking. Because who's the biggest target right now that's left?
Sam, Gabe.
Kyle.
Even Kyle. Kyle, you know, Kyle's again, he's like a Genevieve. He's kind of under the radar. He's not, doesn't seem like a big threat.
What are the numbers now? 12, right? 12 left?
Yeah.
I mean, Tuku's 5 strong. I mean, if they're smart, they stay 5 strong.
Yeah,
they put someone else's name out right away.
Yeah,
so
you keep those numbers as long as you can.
But you know what? What I saw at the end there was that, and again, this is what, for me, being a guy, I don't want to vote out anybody that is male, right? Number one. And I don't want to vote out anybody that's on my original tribe.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've seen that happen before. If there's more girls or more guys, that usually sometimes there's a shift right there. And I think that's going to happen based on what we saw at the end there.
Yeah.
Because you definitely want power. Meat shield, as we call it sometimes. And
What's it called, a meat shield?
Meat shield, meat guy, like is that like a meat shield?
I'm hearing all of these new terms here: meat shield and hinky.
Hinky vote, meat shield. Well, I was going to ask you. You know what FOMO means?
Of course.
Yeah. I know, of course.
Fear of missing out.
Just
remember, I'm in crypto. Fear of missing out, right? So that's FOMO.
Diane says, I hope Tiana uses her knowledge of Sue's idol and keep herself safe because she seems like the Tuku free agent. Yes. That's the one thing that I did want to mention is Sue still isn't trust Tiana. And she's saying like, oh, I feel like Sue might want to get Tiana out of this game, being like, oh, Tiana knows my secret potentially with like the blood and stuff like, or the paint. And so I feel like Sue is kind of judging Tiana harshly, saying like, "Oh, she flip flops and turns on her tribe," when she was saying all that stuff about Gabe, which I understand. But I think she still thinks that she's in good with Carolyn and Sue, and so Tiana doesn't have all the information to be speaking with Sue correctly, and so I just feel like Sue is kind of judging her harshly for not knowing that Sue is in a final two alliance with Gabe. You know what I mean? And so I think, hopefully Tiana is able to smooth things over with Sue, but I feel like Sue could be Tiana's downfall or allow for Gabe to get her out. But I think Sam's going next, but Tiana. I think Sam, and then if not Sam, then Tiana would be my next person. And and if it's somebody from Lavu, I would think maybe Saul. That's who I think could be out from each of those tribes. Do you guys have any thoughts of those?
We shall see.
Okay, we shall see.
We'll see.
Suze Biggers is making an enemy of anyone who says her name.
She's not able to take that information and use it later. She just needs to retaliate, and
she's emotional.
Yeah, she's reacts very quickly.
I would say personally, Sue's next.
You think Sue's next?
No, she's got the idol. She's got the idol, right?
And she's not really a threat necessarily, even though she came second in that challenge.
But any paranoia she'd play her idol. So any thought of it might be me, she's going to play her idol. So we'll see.
All right. Well, thank you both for hanging out with me here on a Sunday. We'll see you both again next week. Please, everybody, do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Help us get to our next level. I think our next level is the 14K, which would be fun. Woo!
14K. Wow, that's great.
Is that right?
That's awesome.
Am I 12.5? Anyways, let's get up there. We're trying to get to 15 eventually. Like this video. Let us know who you think might be out next. Only sleuthing, no actual spoilers, and we can continue this conversation in the comments. Take care, everybody. Bye.